This is Smart Investing with Mike Rand.
Maybe we should chug on over to Mamby-Pamby land where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon.
With Michael's producer, Chris Martin.
You are crazy talented. You're so brilliant. Why doesn't anyone care?
You can email your questions for the show to mike@renim.com.
Hello, rich people? Yes, I'll hold.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA and SIPC.
For I have the pride, the privilege, nay, the pleasure of introducing to you the one, the...
This is Smart Investing with Mike Rand.
Well, hello again, everybody. You are listening to another edition of the Smart Investing Show, where we try to take the topic of investing. Number one, we try to make it easier to understand. Number two, we try to get you good, relevant information on each and every show. And thirdly, we try to be entertaining. Fourthly, sometimes we just try to be brief, because brevity in the age of the internet, I believe, is the one thing that is probably the most rare.
Just attention span alone?
Well, being aware of other people's attention span or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Or being aware, not having as much of an ego where we think that people want to listen to us all the time.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you and I are realistic that way. We know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you're in the radio industry, the commercials, I think people kind of live for the commercials, I think. Or when they're driving a car, it gives them the opportunity to tune out.
Yeah, that's why every now and then, if you're having a radio show, they always say, like, put in an interview, or like the morning radio guys, they'll put in the wink, 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 or something. It's just kind of a breakup from, and it snaps your brain back into listening again.
Yeah, you have to
toilet flush.
Yeah, we have to do something. When you're an entertainer, a presenter, you have to be able to present stuff.
Right.
So it's listenable.
And we tried doing the podcast in the nude, but that was just for us. We found out, oh, wait, this is audio.
And we never wanted to see each other. And then, it's just, it's different being on the podcast and not being live on the air. Very, very, very much so. We just realize kind of what works and kind of what doesn't work. I think we do anyway.
Oh, yeah.
As far as investment shows out there isn't even anybody I think that is even close. There's a couple good investment shows, but as far as the entertaining factor, when we were on the air, I was always of the opinion, even when we do the podcast, I'm of the opinion that if a little bit of banter and so on makes it more listenable.
Well, yeah, you have to care about the people that are doing it. And if I know zip about the guy who's doing it, I don't know who you are telling me what to do with my stocks.
Well, yeah, or if you should be listening or so on. And it's hard in my industry. In other industries, you can have testimonials. You can have testimonials of your customers, like so-and-so restored my car for me. They fixed my furniture. They fixed my washer dryer. I like them. They did good. That is verboten in my industry. You can't have testimonials. Legally, you can't have them.
We couldn't have somebody like call up and go, I like Mike.
No. Even they probably wouldn't even allow the emotional I like him. I mean, they would. It sounds kind of funny. They would. I think they would have to because it's the United States. But anything beyond that, if they said, I like Mike and I see a dollar bill hanging out of his pocket, right there, ding, 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 got to strike that.
So to screw with them, can I do fake callers and as a parody? Can I put it under parody and
you know me.
My name is Tim from the basement, and
you know me. I would love to do that because nothing is more entertaining in life than when you're dealing with the people that love to follow rules. What do we call those people from school?
You know what? Old D&Ds, we just call them rule lawyers.
Okay, perfect. Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy's a rules lawyer.
Okay, the rules lawyers of the world. There's nothing more fun than giving those people shit, especially when your intellect is higher than theirs. And it's not very hard to get there, usually. So anyway, nothing would be more fun. I'd love to do that every day. I've even thought about doing an anti-investment industry podcast and making it be my voice, or having you switch my voice a little bit. And
we'll lower it down, so
doing it anonymously, and just like
we'll do
the deep throat of the industry.
Yeah, we'll do it lower, like you're in witness relocation program or something. This is not Mike Wren.
Yeah, exactly. And I would always, and I thought I would always use the fake name. I would probably pick some Nazi general, some Nazi or Russian general, just to make it go perfect.
Wow.
Well, it'd be easily remembered. Easily remembered.
Okay. Well, I've got a lot of jokes I can't say. Even for rules lawyers, I can't say them.
That's pretty much us every day. So today's show might be a little bit shorter than normal because of me making a change to a much larger broker dealer. With a much larger broker dealer, there's many more rules lawyers there, and that's what they do. When you get to be such a big company. Big companies tend to get a little bit more stupid as time goes on, even Amazon, even Microsoft. As a company grows bigger, you've got more people. In my Mike Wren truism, there's only a finite number of people that are intelligent enough to do whatever task that you're doing on planet Earth at any one time. That's one of my mantras. And in the investment industry, this might be kind of a little bit of a review show, because I was trying to figure out, I want to make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before I start going into exposés about individual companies. Me telling you with a whole bunch of disclaimers why I like company XYZ, why I don't maybe like company ABC so much. And basically, it's not even, I don't even want to do it in the way that says, oh, this is a company that we should look at for making money. It's more like a teaching sort of a thing, or a thought experiment. This is how I'm thinking of this company, and so on. We can even do a little bit of a one here that's not going to be too inflammatory in any way. McDonald's. It's not a solicitation to buy or sell. We're just going to discuss it here for a minute. So I would think, wouldn't you, Chris, most people would think that McDonald's, their profits depend on how many hamburgers they sell in a year, or drinks or coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do.
Mm-hmm. What if I told you that you might be wrong?
I'd say, Mike, I'm out of here. Screw this podcast. Tell me. Set me up.
Well, McDonald's has been changing their corporate structure for a while now. And most of the time, McDonald's makes their money in two ways. They make their money off of owning the real estate underneath the McDonald's stores. So when you own the real estate, you get a rent payment, a lease payment.
Oh, okay.
And think of the real estate that's underneath McDonald's stores. It's usually pretty good real estate. It's across from something.
Yeah.
Like a mall or...
Yeah, they don't put one in the middle of nowhere.
Well, they could, but yeah, they wouldn't...
Wouldn't do them any good.
And then if you and I started a McDonald's hamburger place, what one of our biggest expenses would be, other than your, collection of comic books that you would probably be adding to, and Star Wars figurines, than those.
And all the cocaine drug habits.
And me and my car habit.
Right.
After those expenses.
We get done with all those.
We'd have to pay McDonald's a franchise fee. Right?
Yeah.
To use all their blah, blah, blah stuff. Your straw. You realize their straws are a little bit bigger diameter than most. Have you realized that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Most people don't realize that. Yeah, there's a lot of little tricks that corporate has the stores do. So
I thought we were just a fat nation and wanted to suck down our shake faster than other people.
Well, that's not saying that that's not true.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying
the reason why. Okay.
When you have a bigger straw, it opens up a bigger place for the drink to hit your tongue, and you might get a bigger sensory hit. You see what I mean?
All right.
Kind of like drink. Well, why drink from a stream when you can drink from a fire hose?
Fire. Okay.
But anyway, back
A fire hose of Coca-Cola.
back to the way McDonald's makes their money. Most of the way that they make their money is from lease payments and from franchisee payments, which is pretty smooth and even income. They have a few corporate-owned stores, but they've been changing those and selling those off as time goes by because they want to streamline the way that they run their business, and that means dealing with the franchisee part and dealing with the real estate part. So that's a bit different. And that's what I mean about talking about some individual companies. I think most people would think that their profits monthly are tied to how many hamburgers that they sell, and they're not. It's tied to franchisee payments, the store owners paying the payments to McDonald's, and they paying their rent. And those are pretty even income streams to McDonald's, which makes it a pretty good investment. Or which could make it a pretty good investment. I tend to think so. But, I mean, that's just my opinion, and it's just for discussion purposes. But that's like that's if you do your homework, if you do something other than read the headlines on the internet, if you actually read books, if you do some investigation on anything in life, it becomes pretty fun. You know, I even was watching a cooking channel the other day, and I figured out why white meat of turkey is the way it is and why dark meat of turkey is the way it is. One of them is fast twitch muscle. One of them is slow twitch muscle. The dark meat has fat content in it because those muscles of the turkey walking are in use all the time. So those muscles need fat kind of in the fiber there, so they have some fuel to burn all the time. The breast muscles are used to fly away. They don't need to use them all the time. So those muscles burn a carbohydrate quickly instead of having fat inside them as much. Mm-hmm. That's why when you reheat the white meat, it doesn't really reheat very well because there's no fat moisture inside it. It just keeps on drying it out and drying it out and drying it out, where the dark meat, See? I mean, wow. Just simple stuff. Yeah.
Let's say I was today's years old when I found that out.
So anyway, on today's show, what I was trying to think of is we're having to change the way some of the way the show was brought on the internet. So we're not sure exactly when the show's going to post. So I was trying to make this show listenable, not in any certain time frame. I was trying to make it listenable in general, pretty much any time.
Okay. So we won't say what day it is.
Right, and trying not to make it time specific. And I was trying to figure out what could be most helpful to most individual investors. Well, I think what could be most helpful to most individual investors is don't ever freaking listen to my industry anymore. Don't ever listen to the industry. Make my industry, anybody that's in my industry, make them freaking prove to you that they actually know how to tie their shoes. That they actually know a thing or two about how a business works. Any business. Pick it. Even if it's selling pot. I mean, make them prove to you that they know how a business works. Or better yet, you do your own investigation on a few businesses and see if the person in my industry that you're talking to has done even the tertiary amount that you have. Some are. Most won't. And that's what's getting me. I mean, a few months back or weeks back, I get the email from my own company that says, clients aren't paying attention to performance as much as they are service. Oh, really? So if I tell them I like them every single day and send them birthday cards and, and anniversary cards and Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving.
They'd say someone killed Mike and took over. That's what they would say.
Yeah, but if you say that I can do all that shit, that the client is not going to care if I never make them anything?
I want to stop using Mike, but he sent me a birthday card the other day, and I just...
Yeah, never going to happen. No, actually, I would like to have it happen because people would be surprised, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But wait, what's going on? Why did Mike send me a birthday? Am I being marked? What's going on?
Maybe I put in P.S. Yes, it's the real me. So anyway,
I think you'd have to have a picture with a newspaper.
do you see my distaste, my distrust, my complete frustration just off the... It's like having soldiers and say, no, what's more important is how you march. It's not if you shoot straight or not. It's crazy to me. From my own industry, my own firm sending me an email, clients don't care about performance as much as they do all this other stuff. Oh, really? Did you ask a client, or did you just pull that stuff out of your butt like yesterday? And that's what I get. Like all of the... Not all, but many, many, many of the different headlines that you get on the internet that or in a magazine, what the journalists try to write about to grab your attention is one thing in the world. Learning about businesses is another thing in the world. There's a third thing out there too that they could even concentrate on. They could just truly they could go completely down the psychological end and just say, tell me what you feel like when you've earned all of this money, and it could be 5,000, it could be 5 million. Tell me what you feel like when you've earned this money and you've got enough money in the bank to cover your emergency fund. You've got enough money in the bank to cover expenditures like a safety fund for a year or 6 months. You've got a solid job. You've also got enough of a skill set that if your job went away, you could get another one. You could, this career, you could get another position in the same career, blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of set on one side of your brain that's kind of just cut and dry. I'm making enough money. I've paid off all of my stuff, or it's getting paid off. I'm set up pretty well. What should I do with the money that I've saved? Okay, it's not scary yet. I think that maybe the industry should talk more about the fear or the anxiety or just the unknowingness of when you put your money into it used to be a piece of paper, but now an electronic entry on a computer that says that you own so many shares of blah, blah, blah investment, whether it's a stock or a mutual fund, and then you're just kind of waiting to see what happens. That's not, what is there, where's the glue to get the client, unless they're dealing with somebody like me that realize that it's scary for 90% of the people. Unless they're dealing with somebody like me, where is the client getting the glue to feel okay about that? I would think that it comes from if the statement goes up, if they put their money in and they feel like they're winning, quote unquote, I would think that that's okay. But what about the years when they don't feel like they're winning? You know what I mean? Because that's going to happen.
Really just appreciate a birthday card or something along the lines.
Nice, Chris. She's bringing it. We've moved on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not that. This is not that topic.
I'm just
anymore.
feeling bad because I just invested and I haven't heard from anybody.
Chris's birthday is Christmas, by the way. So
I was not hinting for a card. In fact, don't give me a card because then I'll think something's up.
Yeah. So anyway, do you see what I mean? You've accumulated all this money, and then you've put it in some investment firm. Whether you've done it on your own or done it through a representative in the investment industry, it doesn't really, I don't think, makes a difference at this point. You've put it in there, and now you're wondering what's next. You hear stuff on the news. 90% of it, I think, is wrong or not even, germane to the conversation. You're wondering if you're doing okay. You're kind of at the mercy, unless you've been an entrepreneur yourself, or unless you've been in a company where you kind of can see how they make their profits and how it works. Unless you do your own investigation, you're at the mercy of a whole bunch of dipshits in the world. You really, really are. Just think of that. You're at the mercy of a journalism major writing for, name your publication, writing for Yahoo Finance, writing for Bloomberg, writing for Wall Street Journal, writing for, Barron's. Now, admittedly, some of those publications have higher barriers of entry to work for them, to where some of them have some pretty good experience behind them. But even look at the television show CNBC. Those people talk like they know how they think they run a business, but do you think they do? Do you have proof that they know? Do you invest with them directly? What I'm trying to get at is that the emperor doesn't have any clothes most of the time when you start peeling back the layers. And I think this is kind of with any industry. I'm a car guy. Most of the time, I'm talking to people that I won't say most of the time. Let's say it often it will happen when I'm talking to somebody where they say, oh, yeah, I've done that, and I've done that. And it could be with a certain marquee of a car, maybe a paint job or a restoration. And I'm pretty experienced, and I know really well what I don't know. And what I do know, I know I can still screw that up. Okay? So I'll be talking to these people, and I'll make a few comments. Well, yeah, I've encountered this before. And if they say something, well, I've never encountered that. Oh, really? You know, like fish eyes in a paint. Or something going wrong with the paint job. Or making a mistake mechanically. The more stuff you do, you're more apt to make more mistakes. You're going to learn from those mistakes, like a basketball team. How much do you learn from the meeting after you kicked another team's butt versus how much do you learn from the meeting when some other team schooled you or you lost but where it wasn't back and forth the whole time and it was the flip of a coin? How much do you learn when another team has your number and just schools you? You learn where your weaknesses are. You learn where you weren't paying attention. So there's some positives that come from mistakes. You just have to be in an environment where maybe somebody's not yelling at you when you make a mistake, and you have to be able to learn from it. I think that's why coaches are so highly paid, because coaches know when to just skip it and move on, and when to concentrate on a mistake. That's what a lot of the pro sports celebrities. I think that's where they excel, is they know when to forget something and when to concentrate on a mistake and fix it. It seems, or they might have a better handle on it than I ever did early in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like some of them will just kind of, well, no, we're gonna double down on, or we're gonna do my plan but tougher. Yeah. I've seen that from a lot of coaches. We're gonna do my plan. We're just gonna get tougher about it. Well, if it's not working, don't use that plan.
But like some of the pitchers, when they throw a pitch that loses the game, they're still on the team. They come back the next day.
Yeah.
There's something to learn from it. So whether you're restoring cars or whether you're in investing, if you don't make the same mistake twice and you live a fairly long period of time, your knowledge and your wisdom is going to accumulate. But you have to be aware that that's what you're trying to do instead of just watch and look at headlines. In my own industry, here's a case in point about people in my industry, people that oversee me, having a complete and total disconnect. At this new company that I've joined, they sent me a warning that several of my accounts have above a certain percentage that's too high in a client's account, like you have too much money in one company. And yeah, if you were looking at the one company, at the one account, that might be true. The difference here, what I'm making a distinction about, is a family's money versus one of the family members' accounts. Let's say husband and wife, which this situation is. They each have their own account called an IRA. Then they have a joint account. So let's say their whole net worth is about $1 million that they have invested. Let's say most of that, $800,000, is in the joint account. Let's say $140,000 is in the husband's IRA, and let's say that $60,000 is in the wife's IRA. Well, when I'm investing, I don't pay attention beyond tax benefit of IRAs. I don't pay attention to which account a stock of a company goes in. Let's say Johnson & Johnson or somebody. I don't pay attention to which account the Johnson & Johnson that I want to own for those people. I don't pay attention which account it goes into. I mean, I do, but it's not important. It's not important that all of it's in the husband's name or the wife's name or the joint account's name. And it's not important that I invest, the equal amounts through all three accounts. There isn't the same amount of money in all three accounts, so you can't make them look the same.
Okay.
There's no benefit to making them look the same in the first place. That's their holistic money, so that's what you manage. So I've got 17 red flag reports to where the company that I work for isn't intelligent. They're not commonsensical enough to look at the household of a husband and wife. The wife's IRA, you have, 2/3 of the account is in one company. Well, yeah, I know. Duh. Did you bother looking at what the husband and their joint account is? I think it's kind of important because they sleep together. They eat together. They actually breathe the same air. They eat the same food. It's their money. It's not her money and his money. Do you know how pissed off I was when I got informed that I had to do paperwork to say that? It's like,
I'm sure you took it in a very calm and well-tempered manner. Oh my! I should probably hurry up and do that.
My assistant says, "Well, that was a bad call."
Just like those movies where you see the little guy slap the big guy. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Can you see how asinine that is?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Everybody's had that email.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have to answer someone with common sense, and it's like I've had those at work, and I've deleted 8 or 9 sentences multiple times because I can't get it out non-sarcastically.
Yeah. And I would not. This was a phone call, and I tried not to use any cuss words, and they just started coming out. So it's like,
I don't want to call Mike anymore.
How do you feel when I get handed down from high some dictate from some dictator that doesn't even know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. So if my own industry does that to one of their own representatives, do you think my industry has any clue most of the time how to reassure you psychologically and how to look at a company objectively? Most of the people in my industry are trying to make a living. Now, when I'm saying this, I kind of cringe because there's a few people that I know that work at different firms and so on where I think they're good. I think they're decent, truly. And the other thing is, too, is you notice that I'm not trying to assassinate anybody's character, say that they're dishonest, say that they're not worth it and all that. It's not that. It's just like the difference of an incompetent mechanic. It's not that they're a bad person or something like that. It's just that they haven't paid attention enough or haven't been taught enough to know how to diagnose something.
You don't know the questions that you don't know.
Right. Yeah, you don't know that you don't know the stuff that you don't know. You have
Did
to
you get that, Dave? We're talking about you, Dave. I don't know what Dave.
Yeah, you do. All you comic book store owners out there, you might be stinging right now. No, I'm just teasing. So anyway, that the type of advice back to you as an investor, investing your money, and you're getting a statement, and you're just trying to wonder and try to realize if things are okay or not, if it's normal for things to be going up or down or not. Here's a big topic that I'll jump over to, where everybody concentrates on the wrong thing. And I really mean that. The news, CNBC, every single investment publication in the world, they concentrate on how much the market has gone up or down, right? That's all you ever hear.
Huh?
Okay? That's all they concentrate on. If you watch CNBC, more of an industry type of a channel, they expand that to talk about companies, the prices of these companies going up and down. They always talk about the price of something. They never talk about what the companies do. They never talk about the actual way an index is put together or what's inside the index. Everybody just is talking to each other. It's just like the coronavirus, you know. There's new cases. There's new cases. How many people survived it? Well, all of them. Oh, okay. So that was really important that I needed to know that. So anyway, so they talk. They talk. And it's a self-fulfilling, it's a reassuring thing for everybody. The market went up. Oh, I know. The market went down. Oh, I know. The price of some stock went up. Oh, yeah, I heard that. The price of some stock really got beat up. Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah. They talk around each other. It's all bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. And then it could be the indexes or the price of the stock. You watch CNBC. Think of that. That's all they ever talk about is the price of something has gone up or the price of something has gone down. Okay? When you're looking at your statement, you're going to concentrate on that no matter what because you're a human being, and I get that. So I'm going to give you another tip that will help you, and it pretty much helps more than 90% of investors because it's something that's never talked about on any of the channels long enough or on any of the media, and that's slow down. We're not talking about an index. You could talk about an index. It's not as easy. So let's do something easier. The individual companies that you own. And if you don't own individual companies, well, then it's not going to be as good of a conversation for you. So the individual companies that you own, all the prices are going up and down. Yeah, big deal. Who cares? They're going up, they're going down. These companies, number one, if you still have money there, they're not broke, okay? If the prices are going up and down on them, they're not broke. They are still an entity behaving like they should. We're talking McDonald's, Walmart, whatever, Pepsi, Coke, Microsoft, okay? Normal companies, prices are going up and down. They're not broke. They're in business. Okay, that's first thing, number one. You actually own a piece of that business. Tell yourself that. Okay? Tell yourself. So feel proud if you own shares of McDonald's and you're there getting a bacon, egg, and cheese. Feel proud. Feel like you're participating. You might be in a really small way participating, but in a really small way is better than no way at all. So,
and while you're there, clean up the garbage around the land because they're renting that land. Grab a stick and clean up.
A stick with a nail on it.
Help keep the land clean because they're paying for that.
Yeah, if you see a bum there, you kick that bum out of there.
Kick him out of there. God, Chris. It's kind of your land. You're investing in it somewhat.
So anyway, you're participating in that. So start to think about the price of it going down. What could make the price of it going up and down? What could make the price go up and down? Probably anything. We're dealing with humans. Well, coronavirus up, coronavirus down. Vaccine up, vaccine down. China up, China down. Healthy, everybody's fat, down. People are getting thinner, prices up. Who knows? Who gives a shit? It just goes up and down. That's what happens. But you're going to concentrate on that because you put a certain amount of money in, and in a few years, you'd like that certain amount of money to be a bigger amount of money. I totally get it. But how does the money get from the company to you? What else can you look at other than just the price of the company? Look at the money that it's making. Look at the profits, okay? Bring up the profits online. Go look it up. This day and age, they're there. If there's profits, give yourself a thumbs up. They're profitable, okay? I'm being very, very simplistic here. It might not be profitable enough to justify what extraordinarily high price for whatever company that we're talking about, but this is a baby step. I'm just trying to get somebody to concentrate on something other than their phone, other than the internet, and other than the price of whatever going up and down. What else? Okay? Look at and see the profits. They're going to be stated out there, typically noted on the income sheet as earnings. So look at the earnings. If there's earnings, take a look at them. Look at them a little bit. Okay, good. Look for something else called a dividend. Now, this is key. The dividends that the companies pay, they don't fluctuate every day. They don't fluctuate every week. They don't fluctuate every month, okay? Typically, the dividends are paid consistently on a quarterly basis. And typically, if the company's profitable and conservatively run in a financial way, they typically will give you dividend increases as time goes by. The dividend is a portion of the profits that after the board of directors of the company meet, they say, we got all this money coming in. We'll just stick with McDonald's. We got all these lease payments and franchisee payments. So we're going to keep some in a war chest for scary stuff that happens, so we have cash to pay for it. Then we're going to keep so much in the company to buy more real estate, to open more stores, to sell to more franchisees, whatever, okay? Then you're going to have another chunk of money set aside for God knows what, okay? And then you're going to have a chunk of money that even the board of directors say, well, this is extra money that we could put in reserves, but maybe it's a portion of the earnings that we should share with the owners, the common stockholders, which you would be one if you own common stock. So they issue a dividend they say, yeah, let's continue the dividend rate, or it's been a year. Have we accumulated enough money, and are the prospects going forward positive enough that we can raise the dividend? So they raise the dividend, okay? Those are important events in owning that company. They're not really ever talked about, but when you're getting that dividend, that's a portion of the profits. So they're, by default, the company's profitable, okay? Sometimes it's not. We can get into that sometime. Back in the old days of WWP here in the Spokane area, the utility.
Now, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, they were a company that sometimes their dividend exceeded how much they earned. And how did that work out? Well, it's not called WWP anymore. Okay, well, that's kind of the quick and easy story on that one. So typically, the company is profitable. They're paying dividends. The dividends are being consistent. So while everybody else in the world is paying attention to the price going up and down, while everybody else in the world is writing about how high the market is or how high the market isn't, rewind back to 2007 and 2008. If you didn't own a banking stock back there or a housing stock, think of any company that you want. Save those two industries because that's where all the carnage was. Look at what the dividends were then. Look if they stopped them. I'll tell you right now, they didn't. Look if they increased them. A lot of them did. Okay, to a pharmaceutical company, 2007, 2008 was a non-event. Okay, it did not affect their earnings. So, look at that stuff. If it didn't affect their earnings, it probably didn't affect their dividend. So my advice to you as an investor is maybe for 2 months, don't ever look at the price of the companies that you own. Take your time and calculate the dividends that you're getting. You could do it with mutual funds if you wanted to. Just look at the dividends that are being paid to you. Don't look at the price going up and down at all. Just look at the dividends. And then, if you've been a long-term investor, and hopefully you have, do a little bit of extra work on another day or so. Look back in time and see what the dividends were a year ago or 3 years ago or 5 years ago. See if it's a pretty good trend. See if they've just kept them the same, or maybe they've been increasing them on a yearly basis. Sometimes if a company's doing well, they'll give you 2 dividend increases in a year. Sometimes you'll get a big special dividend like a Costco store where they've been having so much earnings, they've accumulated so much in cash that they're not comfortable paying out a pretty good continuous dividend, so they just keep all the money, and then all of a sudden, boom, they pay it out one big special dividend. And you never really know when it's going to happen. The board of directors tells you that they're thinking about it, and then once they announce it, well, then you know when it's going to happen. But for 2 months, just concentrate on the dividends that your companies are paying. Just the dividends. It's easy to look up. It's easy to look at the dividend expressed as a percentage, and it's also easy to look it up as expressed in sheer cents per share or dollars per share. Look at that. Just concentrate on that for 2 months because that's reality. The company's making money. You're getting some of those profits up front as they share them with you. It's a good thing. It's much more consistent than the price going up and down, and it's actually constructive because, in this day and age, who the hell knows why the price could be up or down most of the time? Doesn't matter. Try to pay attention to something that does matter. So pay attention to the earnings, pay attention to the dividends. I guess that's pretty much the show.
All right.
Yeah, there wasn't too much cussing.
I mean, and I guess remind everybody, don't buy any of those names.
Yeah, it's just it's not a solicitation to buy or sell. I'm using this as discussion purposes to try to teach you how to become a better steward of your investments. Yeah.
From Beverly Hills Cop, I'm going to take the quote from Serge. It says, "Don't be stupid." We'll just play that after everything.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're thinking about investing any names that we said, don't be stupid.
Yeah, take some time. You might want to, but only after extreme consultation. So anyway, that's it. We'll try to be back again in another week. Chris, thanks for being here today.
Hey, not a problem.
All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. The opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. There is no guarantee that any strategies presented will provide positive results. This information is not intended to be a substitute for specific individualized tax advice. We suggest that you to discuss your specific tax issues with a qualified tax advisor. Any guests on this show are not affiliated or endorsed by LPL Financial.